All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube. So do us a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also hit the bell for notifications of new videos, which happens quite frequently. I think one is happening right now as we record. And, of course, upvote the video itself. Cara McCutcheon, who's been busy at work and was basically took a month off for here. She's back, and we get all the wonderfulness that is Cara. How you doing, girl?
Doing good. So happy to be back. It's nice to have an evening.
I bet. You had some kind of a interim promotion or something like that. I was trying to follow along, but
yeah. So I kind of took over 2 different departments that I was running, so it was very busy.
Yeah. I can imagine it was. Anyway, we have a lot to get to tonight. We're going to talk about the quarterback competition because, of course, we're going to talk about a little bit of a feud with you and Brandon Walker, and we're going to talk a little bit about roster building, which this show is about. But it will start with the quarterback competition. What kind of reading are you getting right now?
So I think what I'm seeing here is, we see this improvement from Jackson Dart, which is kind of what we wanted to see, right? From the spring game to now, there was a lot of questions. So I think we're kind of seeing that improvement in Jackson Dart from where he started to now. I think with Luke, as far as what we're seeing here, I don't really put much into like his scrimmage performance. I think, everyone has their day. I think for the most part, just from practices and what I'm hearing, Luke is doing pretty well. So I think we're in a great spot between the two of them that, as Ole Miss fans seeing this competition going on, like we can't really be upset about this, right? Like we have these 2 guys working very hard for this job. So I'm pretty excited to see where Lane kind of leans. I don't think Lane will give us any kind of inclination of which way he's looking, but I am kind of excited to see where his head's at and which way he goes.
Yeah, I've tell people all the time on this show, I think I've said it 5 times in the last 5 months. Root for a quarterback to win the job clearly. Do not root for a particular quarterback. Because either way, if that happens, you're going to be better off and they won the job outright. And the other thing is we're not going to hear anything because Lane Kiffin is worried about Troy, so he doesn't want to say anything there. He's also worried about the loser transferring, which still is an option. And the subscriber sites are making money off the fact this quarterback competition is happening, so they're not going to change that.
Yeah, I don't think with Lane we really will see. I think as far as the other stuff, I'm not a big fan of seeing some of the side taking personally. I know we're human, it's going to happen. But for me personally, if I am asked about who I think is going to win, I usually do a little sly, like, probably Dart or Luke. So, sorry, Kincaid. I probably should add you too. But I typically try to stay away from really giving an answer. I think whoever is the best for the job. I think we'll see why those decisions are made. So I'm not really one to really outright make a decision there or say my opinion.
I'm sure Kincaid is a great kid and a great story and everything involved, but you need snaps with the 1s and 2s before this is actually considered a job, in my opinion. And he might be doing really well. I think he was 5 for 5 for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns Saturday. But we're not going to take this seriously until he's getting reps with the 1. And you know what? We're out of time. We're not going to know if he's getting reps with the 1s from here until the first game.
I agree. I think because we do hear Lane kind of talking about that, I don't think that necessarily is a sign he's moving in that direction, to be quite honest. That might be towing a line there, but it's just my thought with how Lane has been with the others. He's a little more constructive. He's not as praiseful for the other guys. So, and I feel like he was that way with Matt as well. So that's kind of some of the things I read into that Lane does, not really, but you can kind of pick up on.
Yeah. After this last scrimmage, everybody talked about how good Jackson Dart looked. And his stats, everybody, to a person, talked about how good he looked. So Lane Kiffin needed the distraction. He couldn't talk about Luke because everybody watched Luke play. They saw what he was doing. It would be disingenuous. So you talk up the kid that went 5 for 5 for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns in 3s versus 3s, which was really 4s versus 4s. And that storyline catches hold and people take it. That and the fraternity punter turned into the 2 major stories that people started carrying, and they don't even talk about the quarterback competition, which is the story on campus.
Also, can we just mention how pretty funny it is that Lane kind of adds in juice to a part of the punishment? So if you have to run laps, you have to take juice with you.
It's actually very smart. Yeah.
It's smart and it's funny. I have to give Lane props for that.
Yeah. And I think it's funny. Now, I like juice. I love a Labrador. I have a chocolate lab myself. His name's Archie. I mean, I am in with this. But having a Labrador in Mississippi, that's not exactly should be a storyline, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I think seeing Juice in this storyline with Juice just take off. It's been interesting. I think we might have a new mascot in Juice. So,
well, labs are not the most. They don't have the most longevity, so I don't think we're going to have a true mascot. But I do think Juice is going to be around for the foreseeable future. Now, let's change gears a little bit. We talked about the quarterback competition. We talked about Juice. Now, I understand that you kind of got into a little bit of a Twitter feud with Brandon Walker, and it was resulted in you getting blocked. Talked about that.
Yeah, so I am a part of the block crowd by Brandon Walker. So there was a bit of a feud. If anyone follows I am good friends with Big Game Boomer. And so there was a feud that started between Big Game Boomer and Brandon Walker at the time. And I decided one night I was just going to jump right in there. And I had made a comment that he had said something about Big Game Boomer should be done or something. And I said, well, if anyone should be, we end Brandon Walker, which somehow was taken into I was already a hit on him, not so much to say his career should end. So this got into like the Mississippi State 247 guy starts commenting on this, and he starts going back and forth with me, and I start going back and forth with him, and he was kind of like,
wait, which 247 guy was that? Steve Robertson?
No.
Okay, so it was an under. Okay, it wasn't the head guy. It was an under guy.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
Like Robbie Falk or somebody.
That's what it was. Okay. So Robbie keeps quoting me, and he's almost, you could tell, trying to get drag me, trying to get, and nobody's really biting it. So I'm kind of pushing back at him, going, "Oh man, this sucks for you. You're really trying to drag me, and it's going nowhere. Your fans don't even care about Brandon Walker." And so I kind of pushed it a little there, and so it kind of turns into this where Brandon Walker gets involved, and somehow it goes into the Unnecessary Roughness podcast. And next thing I know, I'm blocked. So one of my friends decides she's going to go and defend my honor. And somehow it comes out that he starts talking about women at Ole Miss and how our appearance or different things about Ole Miss. So I kind of called him out for taking things to a low level, and his Casey Smith, I believe her name is, got involved. And so, yeah, I had a fun time but I'm still blocked, by the way. I'm still 100% blocked.
Yeah, I do not talk trash. I don't engage with any of those people, but I hear stories like that all the time. And I'm pretty sure Big Game Boomer is blocked, but his feud back and forth, of him putting College Town's tears and just the bottom one was Mississippi State, that was unbelievably pointed. And it was just basically designed to make a list to piss him off.
Yeah, I think that's calmed down a lot now, but I definitely had to laugh at those. I think Ole Miss fans really hit the ground running on getting those lists out there and sharing those. So it was fun for us during that time.
Yeah. People don't realize, but I have a philosophy on stuff, especially social media, and is basically you have to choose to be canceled. You have to choose to be for it to work on you at all, whatever they're trying to say. And people will always go to the lowest common denominator and comment on your appearance on social media.
Yeah, that's usually the go-to I get. So, but yeah, so that was my fun postseason feud with Brandon Walker.
Yeah, I get all the time calling me an old person all the time. I mean, it never even. It's like, yeah, that's not an insult. I lived those years. I know I'm an old person. Yeah, I'm not trying to be 25 anymore.
Yeah, Twitter responses are fun.
Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, scrimmage number 2, Saturday. What are you hoping for?
So I actually want to hear more on the defensive side, to be quite honest. I want to hear more of what's happening, what they're seeing there. I haven't seen as much on that as I'd like to be quite honest. I am always interested in the QB battle, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more of this stuff and how that's coming. I think there was a discussion of certain, I believe it was Jalen Robinson and his health. So I'd like to hear a little more about the wide receiver room, how the wide receivers are shaking out. I want to hear more about with our tight ends, the running backs. I'd like to see a lot more the production that's going on there, but really defense, to be quite honest. I'd love to hear more about what they're thinking there, where some of those things. I've seen a lot of great things, as I call him, Iggy. I've seen a lot of great things about Iggy. I've been following him, so I'm very interested to see what he will do and where he lands on the depth chart.
Yeah, and also in yesterday's press conference of players, Damon Clowney was one of the people that was interviewed, and he talked about his switch over. Well, I guess he's going back and forth, and he's cross-training between linebacker and defensive end, and it's probably something him and Corey Coleman is likely doing the same thing. But either way, it makes the defensive line salty rushing the ball and puts kind of a thumper back there in linebacker a little bit.
I'm also interested to hear, with Chris and how things are going. I think there's a lot of question marks with our defense and how it's going to be. But I've been following Chris and his comments about just what he's forming and what they're trying to do. So really like to see a lot of what's happening there.
All right, Cara. Anyway, get more on the SEC by making Locked On SEC your second listen every day. Host Chris Gordy and local experts, that's me, of Locked On take you across the SEC in 30 minutes or less. Make Locked On SEC your second listen every day. Locked On SEC. Cara, thank you very much for coming by and reclaiming your weekly spot. I hope everything goes well, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.